Hello everyone, it's Peter here with GoodReader.com. This is the Pocketbook Inkpad 3. We're going to be looking at UI. We're going to be looking at books, PDFs, Glowlight experience, store, and a couple other things. So let's just crack away at it here. 360. We have the sides and the top completely clean. The back is a nice flat color. It's a matte kind of gunmetal look to it. And everything happens on the bottom here. You have your micro USB port that can also be dongled into a 3.5mm headphone jack. You have your micro SD, and your power button that can also have illumination changes on it. We're going to look at the UI here. So you have this kind of carousel in the middle of recent books that you've read. At the bottom, you have some things that are new books, anything that you've kind of added in there, side-loaded and whatnot. Then you have library, store, browser, the kind of app screen. I mean, they are apps. I mean, I always do this because I say, like, you know, Android apps, but it's not Android, but you do have apps. And at the top, you see you also have a slide down here. And then you have Wi-Fi sync, front light task manager, front light automatic mode, and smart light. We'll get into that later. Battery is also listed right there. So we're just going to look at these things one by one. We'll go to the library. And the library brings you to an absolute just huge amount of books preloaded on this thing. We didn't sideload any of this. This is all preloaded stuff. And it's multiple different languages. You have some Polish stuff, you have some French stuff, some Russian languages, and some Spanish languages and whatnot. You can organize things by all books, authors, genres, collections, etc., or by title. And then when you click by title, it gives you some more there. And then you have the more section right here, which allows you to change it into grid view with a little bit of a description. You can get rid of the thumbnails altogether, etc. So that's the library experience right there. Getting into the settings menu, you just drop the top down, click settings, and this is where it gets kind of extensive. Settings menu allows you to do multiple things. Of course, it's the settings, so you can click on each respective thing and you can see what it's all about. So this is the Wi-Fi menu right there. We'll go through each one of these. We'll just kind of be quick though. You have bookstore settings, synchronization. You can do your login and registration from here. Send a Pocketbook, Dropbox, ReadRate, etc. That's where you manage all your accounts for each respective application. You can personalize everything. You can even change the bootloader or the boot logo. So you can have it say, like, you know, your own personal logo if you want. Page refreshes every 10 pages, etc. You can open at startup the last book you read or whatever. You can turn the LED indication at the bottom of the device on or off. Key mapping, user profiles. Languages is where it really gets interesting because this is a very international company, Pocketbook. You can choose multiple languages, multiple keyboard layouts if you want to do notes and stuff like that. Speech synthesis, etc. Date and time, of course, date and time. Time zones. You can pause the video when we enter any of these sections, of course, at any point in time. Battery percentage, if you want that displayed or not. Power off after a certain amount of minutes. Maintenance, USB mode. You can ask when connected. You can just connect, whatever. Privacy mode. Format internal memory. Software is software version. Update, you can just set it to auto update and it'll update automatically. And then you have the about device section, device model, memory, legal information that you can read 1,000 pages of. The Wi-Fi turns off after a while, so while it's on, let's check out the store so we don't have to boot it back up. They do that to save battery life, obviously. So this is Bookland. You can register Bookland to access all of the features, but we're not going to do that for now. We're just going to go and click on a couple things to show you what it looks like. This is Journey to the End of the Night, and you can see here you can't scroll. You actually have to go page by page, and that's pretty much the extent of what each individual book looks like. And you can see there the USD pricing is next to everything right there. You click buy USD, but we don't have the account open right now. It will prompt you to open up the account, you know, logins and whatnot. You can also change the languages here. English, I mean, there's 4 pages of it. Russian, Portuguese, etc., etc. So they do offer many different books in many different languages. You can click show more, and that gives you the whole kind of list. Once again, you can't swipe, you have to press page by page. And when it says not loaded, it just gets a second. Give it a second and it will load. The web browser is next, so we're going to go to our website, of course, because it is, well, it's our website. And we're just going to show you guys a little bit of a speed test on how long things take to load and whatnot. Got our Wi-Fi in the studio here, so obviously it's full Wi-Fi. We're not leeching off of a Starbucks. Well, Starbucks does have pretty quick Wi-Fi. So once you're here, it loads pretty quick. You can scroll around once it kind of gives you final renders. And come on, you almost had it. Almost let me. There we go. We're finally rendered, I think. There we go. So we're finally rendered here. You can click this more button here and you have refresh, zoom, rotate, settings, etc. And you can scroll up and down. It does refresh pretty frequently on a website. You do have pinch and zoom capabilities like so. It's not the worst. There is a fair amount of staining you can see there. So I mean, the web experience on e-readers has always been kind of like a last resort thing. If you lost your cell phone and you absolutely had to access the web, you can, but it's not really a recommended, you know, portal to the web, because I mean, look at it, it's pretty slow. And what you all came here to see, the ebook experience. So we have page turns with swiping, page turns with the physical buttons, and page turn with tapping. You can do it 3 different ways. If you press and hold on something, you get some notes and highlights. We skipped over it in the last video because it was a short video. So you see you can do some highlights. You can take a note, and we're just gonna write my name, and you can see it missed the P even though I very obviously tapped it. So there is a little bit of a delay when you're typing. You do have search and Google. You click it immediately, it triggers the web browser, so keep that in mind, and it will obviously search your term that you just searched. There's no way to go back to the book. You actually have to exit out every single time. I didn't click that, but we'll go with that. We'll do a dictionary. So you can see here you have the English dictionary, and if you click that little stack right there, you do have a multitude of different languages from and to, from English to Spanish, Finnish, and so forth. You can also come on. Final long press. We also have the last setting we want to show here, and it does take a second. Read rate. So it took a little bit of while because it has to actually boot up, but with that you have Facebook, Twitter, and a couple other international social media platforms that you can share your passage with, whether you highlighted a large amount of text or you highlighted just a single word. You can also go back, and that takes you back to the book. Clicking in the center brings up the text options, and we'll go through all of these. So the text options, you have margins, line spacing, and when you click the font, you do have regular, italic, bold, and lots of fonts. Once again, this is a very international company and an international e-reader, so you have like Arabic fonts, Hindi fonts, stuff like that. So they really don't try to lock you down. They really keep it kind of open for you. You do have rotation options as well, because if you want to read something in landscape or portrait, etc. You do have notes. You can mark text with the marker and move your finger around on the screen and all that kind of thing, if we can get rid of that. So you see you do have the marker thing open there. It just kind of goes over everything, and then you have screenshot, which will save a screenshot of your book. When you start getting away from the e-reading experience into all these different things, it does take a little bit of toll on the device. You can see it's a little bit slow, and you do have the voice to speech, TTS, text to speech, but you do need an external speaker in order to actually hear it. Even if you plugged in the dongle down below, you have to hook it up to headphones. It's simply not possible to show on camera very well. PDFs, something else you guys wanted to see that about 5 people commented and said they wanted to see. So we'll just do some page turns here. This is just some generic baseball PDF. We'll do a little bit of a zoom in. You see, it's not as bad of a zoom in as most e-readers. They usually looks like they're, you know, staticky and very blurry. This one is very slow, but it's consistent. You never really lose where you are on the screen. Fortunately, there is no long presses on anything, unlike Amazon and a couple other devices that you can do long presses. There are no long presses on this. You do get a mini map when you scroll around though. That's really nice. Rendering is a little bit of a pain. It does take a second. You got to be very patient with it. Trying to bring up some menu options, and it does take a second. Okay, once you do have some text options. This won't change the size of the text or anything, but you do have reflow, fit to corners, fit to width, and justify everything to the left. I'm not going to click it now because when you do, it does the entire device. It goes through the entire PDF file, so it does take a while. It'll reflow the entire thing. So we do have the marker, and you can see that it doesn't really work on all PDFs. It will work on some, maybe ones that are super text related, but ones that have see, it's catching some of the text. I was hoping it would do that. It is catching some of the text that it does identify as text, but any of the pictures and stuff like that, it won't obviously catch it because they're images. One of the last things we wanted to show are games, because surprisingly enough, we did have about 4 people on Facebook and YouTube and mixed other social media platforms that say they want to see games. So here we go. Let's do some chess. Now you're gonna watch me play this entire game of chess. And no, I'm just joking, but I'm gonna leave it at that because I am winning. I'm winning right now. Oh. Well, he just ate me pretty quick, and I don't know if you guys saw before, but I put it at difficulty 2. Alright, well, I'm not a professional chess player, I guess, but this does have the ability to play games. It does have Sudoku and, you know, a couple other games, but no, you can't sideload games onto this because it is not running Android, and you don't have the ability to sideload APK files. Final thing we're going to show you before we wrap up here is the Glowlight experience. This does have Smart Light, which is the total trend of late 2017 or early 2018 is everything has Smart Light, which is basically a very warm light. So you can change the glow to an orange candle light all the way down to like a very, very kind of bluey light, light blue illumination. And why that is because on the bottom it's very difficult to see, but you might be able to catch it right there that you do have 10 white LEDs and 9 orange LEDs, and what that allows you to do is activate them respectively. You can go pretty much all warm LEDs or you can go all cool LEDs, so that allows you to kind of cater it towards your environment, if you're outside, if you're in low light, if you're in high light, if you're in fluorescence, etc. So I hope you enjoyed this very long and drawn out review of the Inkpad 3. This was an extended review because we did do our short one, and for the first time in a while everyone says no, do a long one, so we actually did. Usually people say they don't want the long ones because they're just redundant and we spend too much time on something, but I hope you now have a choice to, you know, you can either watch short one or you can watch a long one. So here you go. If you guys have any other questions, comments, or concerns, or anything else you want to see on this, if we've missed anything, I don't think we have, let us know down below in the comment section. And for goodyreader.com, this is Peter.